Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Amelia Lee here with you on this Monday, September 1st. It's now 6 o'clock this morning and time for a check of our weather with meteorologist Eric Dean. A bit chilly today, Eric, as we kind of quickly approach fall now.
Exactly, and matter of fact, we're already halfway there. First day of meteorological fall began today. So today being September 1st. Take a look here outside right now at Harlan County on Black Mountain. 54 degrees is the current temperature there. Feels like 54 outside. And you can see right now temperatures throughout eastern Kentucky ranging from the 40s, 50s, even low 60s. Look at Pikeville, 60 degrees. Other end of the spectrum, Irvin, good morning to you. You're at 49, 10 warmer in Moorhead, 55, the Double Nichols in Somerset, as well as London, our dew point, also in the 50s. So some places could see a little bit of patchy fog. Live pinpoint Doppler radar is quiet right now, but a stray shower or two certainly not out of the question as we go throughout the afternoon and early evening hours. There's a quick look at your day planner. We'll make a run for the 70s today. I'll have your complete first alert forecast coming up in a few minutes, but right now it is 6:01. We'll toss it back to Amelia.
A 6.0 magnitude earthquake struck eastern Afghanistan late Sunday night, killing at least 600 people and injuring hundreds. The quake was at a shallow depth of 8 kilometers. Authorities warned the death toll could rise as rescue teams struggle to reach remote mountain districts where entire villages have reportedly been flattened. Well, 20 years ago Friday, Hurricane Katrina devastated the Gulf Coast. Our sister station WKYT sent a crew of veteran journalists, anchor Sam Dick, reporter Phil Pendleton, and chief photographer Kenny Harvner to Mississippi to capture the destruction and the response from Kentuckians who traveled south to help. They reflected this past week on what it was like to cover one of the most historic storms in modern history.
In 4 or 5 decades of reporting, it was some of the most challenging conditions as a journalist to cover that story.
The team says the conditions were unlike anything they'd ever seen, from washed out roads and destroyed bridges to entire barges thrown inland by Katrina's winds. They also met Kentuckians who were among the first to bring help.
We got down there and we just started finding Kentuckians were living there.
The former Whitesburg resident has lived in Biloxi for about 10 years.
This group from Somerset was bringing a tractor trailer load of supplies to a little town called Wiggins. I found out that Kentucky State Police were there and they were helping communities recover.
Pendleton is one of the few reporters still working in Kentucky television who covered Katrina 2 decades ago. He went on to win an award for his coverage of the storm. Well, the Jenkins Police Department is reassuring families after a potential threat at Jenkins Independent School. Police say they were notified Thursday night about a possible threat. After investigating, officials determined it was unsubstantiated. Extra security was added Friday morning, including metal detector wands and locker checks to ensure students and staff remain safe. Police thanked the school for its quick response and say safety remains their top priority. Well, we are looking at a report that examines how safe public schools are in Kentucky. Governor Andy Beshear says more than 1,300 schools follow state safety guidelines, which also require public school campuses to have a school resource officer. Governor Beshear says more than 840 SROs are assigned across Kentucky. This study, a part of the 2024-25 School Safety Risk Assessment Report, also shows some schools have upgraded their security systems. This means adding electronic locking front doors, surveillance systems, and locks for classroom doors, among other measures. Governor Beshear says the state will continue to prioritize safety, especially after Wednesday's school shooting in Minneapolis.
Every American child should be safe when they go to school. Every American child should feel safe when they go to school, and no parent should have to go through the pain and suffering of these parents, and so many like them have faced. As a dad, it's hard to comprehend. As a person who lost one of his best friends in these shootings, it's hard every time they happen. It's wrong that we live in a time where there is something, this is something, that children and teachers and families and school staff have to face. But until there is more change, we must do everything in our power to protect our children, our schools, and everyone within them.
Governor Andy Beshear and Congressman Hal Rogers announced $26 million for education, tourism, and economic development in eastern Kentucky. The funding was announced during the last day of the SOAR Summit in the Corbin Arena. And to wrap up the event, Governor Beshear, Congressman Rogers, and Senate President Robert Stivers all spoke about good things happening throughout Appalachia.
So what we saw today are different healthcare groups, different tourism groups, different groups that are creating or expanding jobs and training our workforce, getting more funding so that they can do even more good work. Everybody who received an award today earned it. It's not given, it's earned. It means they're doing amazing things in their community.
15 recipients in 11 counties will receive various amounts of funding. And to see a full list, you can find this story on WYMT.com. Governor Beshear says Kentucky will receive more than $9 million in AmeriCorps funding after a multi-state legal challenge. The Trump administration had tried to halt the program nationwide, but governors and attorneys general from 23 states filed a lawsuit. Instead of fighting in court, federal officials agreed to release the full funding. Governor Beshear says AmeriCorps makes communities stronger through housing, education, and disaster relief. More than 70 unaccompanied minors from Guatemala should be back in the custody of the Department of Health and Human Services this morning after a judge order stopped deportation plans from taking off yesterday. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the administration is looking to surge immigration enforcement in the coming days in multiple U.S. cities, including Chicago. CBS's Bradley Blackburn has more from New York.
The Trump administration's plan to deport hundreds of migrant children to Guatemala was temporarily blocked by a federal judge. The ruling came as dozens of unaccompanied minors were already sitting on planes in Texas, awaiting departure Sunday morning. A Justice Department lawyer says one plane may have taken off, but later returned. The government had argued that the children's parents had requested to be reunified with them, but lawyers for some of the children said that's not the case, and that some of the minors could face abuse, neglect, or persecution if they are returned. Relatives of some of the children had gathered in Guatemala City. This man says his nephew fled the country out of desperation and is hoping to stay in the U.S. to study.
We haven't taken anything off the table.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem told CBS News Face the Nation Sunday that the Trump administration is looking to step up immigration enforcement in cities around the U.S., including Chicago. This as President Trump issued this threat to Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker over the weekend regarding crime in the Windy City. He better straighten it out fast or we're coming. Pritzker on CBS News Face the Nation Sunday.
It's clear that in secret they're planning this, well, it's an invasion with U.S. troops if they in fact do that.
Pritzker has threatened to take legal action if the White House sends federal guard troops to Chicago. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
On CBS News yesterday, Governor Pritzker also suggested that President Trump could have other aims for sending the National Guard to U.S. cities instead of fighting crime. A White House spokesperson called those claims absurd. A Kentucky veteran and longtime member of Rolling Thunder has died after a motorcycle crash in Madison County. Police say 72-year-old William Bill Wasson was riding near the Buc-ee's in Richmond Wednesday afternoon when he collided with another vehicle. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Wasson was heading home from a veteran's funeral at Camp Nelson.
He was true, earnest, and honest, and he was an invaluable member of our chapter.
A visitation for Wasson will be today and Tuesday at St. Mark Catholic Church in Richmond. The funeral will be at noon on Tuesday. He'll be laid to rest at Camp Nelson National Cemetery.
All right, temperatures right now in the 40s and 50s, even low 60s. Look at Harlan. We're sitting right at 60, 10 cooler in Hazard, 59 in Jackson, 40s from Boonville over towards the Irvin area. And you factor in that temperature change over the past 24 hours. We're 5 degrees warmer in Williamsburg, 4 degrees warmer in Harlan, 6 degrees warmer in Pikeville. Here's a look at your muggy meter over the next 5 days. It starts to go up a little bit. Then we'll see a front push through. It's going to drop that dew point down Friday and Saturday. Not bad in terms of temperature. We're talking temperatures in the low to mid 70s. All is quiet right now on live pinpoint Doppler radar. If you have plans today, There's a look at your day planner. We'll see temperatures in the 60s and 70s with partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies. I'll have your complete first alert forecast coming up in a few minutes, but right now it is 6:10. We'll send it back to Amelia.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on Mountain News this morning at 6:10.